with their lack of quality, their lack of depth anywhere. They're so thin everywhere. They have like a starting 11, and then they don't really have anyone else.
You compete against Man City, you cannot afford to lose. You cannot afford to lose any of your best players. Not a single player.
Mm-hmm. Liverpool was always Salah, volume of goals, Mane will always come clutch.
Yeah.
Salah, volume of goals, Mane will come clutch. Now the Mane thing is now out. Salah, your output now has to go even greater. But not only your outputs, those key games. Simple question, guys. Is it over? EPL title, is it over?
Yes. No. Yes. No. It's been. Let me tell you this.
No. Osasuna, why no? Because I'm more interested in Osasuna's no.
Because Chelsea can still compete.
Okay. Sorry. Let me rephrase this. Is it over for Liverpool?
Yes.
Why? Because of these two draws, or what? They
don't look good enough. Simply don't look good enough.
You know what it is though. It's. I always said this. League. It's like a psychological battle. It's a mental battle. It's like, so it's like the thing about Man City that's annoying. So Man City, they can go 10, 12, 13 games.
Repetition.
They can do that, and they can do it just like that. The moment you lose a game or you draw a game, it feels like the end of the world when you change the City. It does. You feel like
but yes, do you know why it's even deeper? And I'm sure Smoke will get in on this, but do you know why it's deeper? City won the league.
Yeah,
they won the league. What do they do? So they just clinched Sergio Gomez now, and they just go Haaland, who's regarded as one of the best finishers. Yeah, and go Calvin Phillips. Liverpool, you didn't win the league, so if you don't win, you should be doing more. Who do you go and get? You go and get Charles Darwin. What about your midfield? You're still playing Henderson and Milner in that midfield, and you're the team that didn't win the league. If you didn't win, there is more onus on you to say what's up in the transfer markets over the team that's won the freaking league.
Yes.
Also, just to add something quickly. Like you said, look how they strengthen, and Liverpool. I mean, it's like when you compete against Man City, you cannot afford to lose. You cannot afford to lose any of your best players. Not a single player.
Yeah, see for me, so that's why I want us to have a real honest conversation. I think Klopp is arrogant, and Klopp, there is no space for you to be arrogant when the guy you're competing against has won what's it called 4 out of 5. Of the last few Premier Leagues, and in the last 5 years, you've only given me a Premier League and the UCL. Because I'm saying you're arrogant because it is in your arrogance that this guy has pimped you domestically, and you have not decided that, okay, Firmino, we need the replacements for you. Milner, Henderson, you're out. Come in, revamp the midfield. And you know what? Sadio Mane, get lost, and we're not going to replace you with Luis Diaz. That has been disrespectful to what Mane is. I know that 100%. Mane started the season off bad last season, but in these two games, you see what you're missing from Sadio Mane. Luis Diaz, great score and so forth. Luis Diaz doesn't bring what Mane brings.
You know, it's a bit too premature to say it's over, but it's going to be difficult for Liverpool in the sense that, for me, I always say the most.
I don't know, man.
Wait, the most impactful player for me for Liverpool was always Mane. Even when they played
against
the thing is, Mane is similar to our KDB or Gundogan, right? When it counts, they are there, right? They're not there for all these useless matches prior to the season when, no. Business end of the season, he steps up. He's like, give me the ball, let me do something. Like a game against Crystal Palace. It required such... Shout out to Diaz, but I don't see that happening week in, week out. Right, that's going to be a once in a long while. And the issue with Liverpool from last season is still there. They can't break down low blocks. You saw they were spamming 50 crosses like a Stoke or Burnley would do. Right, that showed you that they don't have ideas. Hence for them, if Thiago doesn't play, Trent has to basically be the playmaker, which now gives them defensive frailties. They still sus on the counter. And you saw it yesterday against Zaha. Against good oppositions, they punish you. So I still see them, because the thing is this: people think that Liverpool lost the league because of losses. No, they lost the league because of draws. Those guys have only lost like 2 or 3 games, but they've drawn like 50. Right. So, at the end of the day, I always knew that with Firmino declining, I don't see Nunez doing, because the thing is, City, we have enough chances that we will spread our goals around. Haaland is more of a bonus in the Premier League, and you can see it. We don't. He gives us an extra dimension, but we can still win games with the false nine, and we've proved it back-to-back seasons. So our only test will be in the Champions League like always. But as for the league, Liverpool will need a miracle. I'm not saying
No,
because there's still injuries that can come.
Smoke. Why I say it's so hard is my thing is that here's the thing. If Klopp doesn't make any midfield signings, Smoke, it's done. Because we know that for Henderson and Milner, these guys have clearly passed it. Thiago, we know that he's injury prone. So there's too much reliance on Thiago. Darwin Nunez, he has to adapt. And we can see that he now has to adapt. And the issue is this. I think someone made me the point. City have a two-flex. So we can hit you how we hit you before, which is short, quick passes and triangles. Or if that doesn't work, we've got Haaland. So we can hit you with Haaland, or we're going to hit you with how we've hit you in the past few years. Liverpool, we can only hit you one way because Luis Diaz can't do what Mane does. And Firmino isn't able to do what he used to do, which is be that points man that he used to be. So all it is spamming. It's like Salah or bust. Because
it was sad seeing Liverpool hit 50 crosses into the box. I'm like, nah, man, you can't be the best in Europe. Because at the end of the day, the best break down teams. That's what you do. You break down teams to show that you're the best. You have to break down low blocks, week in, week out.
Also, Sona, talk to me, man. Liverpool, man.
Liverpool I think their season is going to be a bit of a struggle if as Klopp says, they don't bring in anyone. I think people underestimate how important Mane was, as Smoke was saying. If you look at most of Liverpool's goals, it goes through Mane. He is the one that links the midfield to the attack because the midfield isn't quality. And the thing about Liverpool is that they don't actually have a lot of goal scorers. City, they have a lot of goal scorers who can share the goals around. The midfielders score, the attackers score. They have plenty of players in those areas. The midfielders for Liverpool don't score. They're not goal scorers.
No, because also, what's it called? Last season, Gundogan pretty much just went crazy.
That was
Gundogan, a midfielder, went crazy, and that's how they won the league.
Yeah, exactly. During COVID season, that happened. And so... but if you look at Liverpool's goals last season, it was Salah got a few, Salah got like maybe a third, Mane got like maybe another third, and then Diaz got maybe a sixth, and then another sixth to the rest of the team. But you're losing a third.
Jota got some goals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you're losing basically a third or a quarter of your goals for I'm sorry, but Nunez. And this guy, he doesn't provide what Mane provides in the attack because Mane, he is an intelligent player. He knows how to interchange with the link with the midfield and then bring the ball to Salah. He is the reason why the ball can go to Salah and to Diaz. Now with Nunez, when you have a stick up front, you can only bounce the ball off the stick. And unfortunately, this stick is the only bouncing he's doing is bouncing off people's noses. So I think that their season with their midfield currently, with their lack of quality, their lack of depth anywhere, they're so thin everywhere. They have like a starting 11, and then they don't really have anyone else. Yeah. So I don't know if I said continuously that you're fighting for third with Spurs. This is a battle for third.
But just to add on to what everyone is saying, it's also about the system as well. Liverpool, for a very long time, people don't like Firmino, but then there's a reason why he plays Firmino all the time because how valuable Firmino is in coming deep and bringing more numbers into the midfield and allowing, back in the day, Sadio Mane coming from the left and Mohamed Salah coming from the right to occupy that vacant striker role. But then they switched it into Sadio Mane now being in midfield and literally doing more than what Firmino was doing. It was a far better Firmino. But now you take the interchangeable three and you put in how do I say this? Static striker, he's not a built-up striker. He's in the box
traditional
striker.
Throwback, traditional number 9
striker. Well, you have to play to him. And in that sense, you become more predictable and it's easier to defend in that sense. and it's like it takes time to adjust to him.
No, but yes, my thing is that we said it way before.
Yeah.
But I always said tick, trust in Klopp. But we said that with how Klopp has played, you had Lewandowski at Dortmund, Firmino at Liverpool. How Darwin Nunez? How does that work with how I know that you want to attack?
But it's like it could work, but it will obviously take time. But then the thing is, you're competing with some freak
No. But yes, you're missing the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Look at how he used Lewandowski at Dortmund.
Yeah.
Look at how he used Firmino at Liverpool. You can see similarities in profile of Firmino and Lewandowski.
Yeah.
Darwin Nunez is in a different stratosphere in profile to Firmino and Lewandowski. So that's where the confusion is.
True.
Sir. Just to add to HH, Nunez works against the high line, because if you saw against him in Fulham, he was running behind the defense. That's how he got the goals. Whereby yesterday, in front of a low block, he can't do anything. Because a low block, you need to be able to bounce the ball off someone. Because I don't know if you saw that the goal which Haaland assisted, right?
Yeah.
Haaland held two defenders. Gundogan ran off him. He paused and then.
But Dan,
you need hold up play.
You know what's so amazing about what you just said? Like that's the difference to HH. That and then like obviously we have our narrative, we have our agendas, all that stuff about goal scoring, about Haaland, Nunez, who's going to score more goals. But Down Smoke hit the nail on the head. Manchester City doesn't need. They'll be happy if he scores goals, but they don't need Haaland to score goals. Liverpool, they are desperate for Nunez to score goals. If he doesn't score goals, where are the goals coming from? It's literally that simple. So it's, for me, that's why I look when I look at this.
Yes, hold up. That's weird. Who got the big contract? So it was Salah or Mane. Salah, Mane. The guy said, "Hey, Salah's got goals."
But both are nice.
So yes, my thing right now is the pressure now is on Salah. Because my thing is that Darwin, this is now a three-match ban for him right now. Yeah. I think Jota is still missing. Even when Jota comes back and things go, Luis Diaz ain't going to give you those higher amounts of goals. Jota might be. United. So there's now, because Liverpool was always Salah, volume of goals, Mane will always come clutch.
Yeah.
Salah, volume of goals, Mane will come clutch. Now the Mane thing is now out. Salah, your output now has to go even greater. But not only your outputs, those key games. Fulham,
but
we need that winning goal.
Mane leaving affects Salah's goal tally, because the thing is this: when you have Salah and Mane, right, they both goal threats. So it means that you need at least two players occupying both, right? So now with Mane gone, it means the defense has a break, because okay, Diaz is good with his feet, but he's not clinical, so we can give him more space and focus on Salah. So now Salah gets more attention, meaning that he gets less chances than before.
Not only that, Don, when you have a striker, there is even Salah needs to be a playmaker. Even Salah has to create for him. That's the thing. Like when you have like a traditional striker, you have to play to him. Like in the second goal they scored in Fulham, who created the goal? It was Salah that crossed it. But the Salah would need to defer more to the traditional striker and play to him than actually Salah playing his own game.
But yes, sir. Before I continue, but yes, doesn't Klopp realize that?
Yeah.
For you to compete, you have to replace that midfield. How can you? Because I was shocked when Mike said to me that Klopp says that he's done with transfer activity.
But
the thing is, I get them. The thing is, the injuries is like 2-3 weeks. 2-3 weeks. So because of that, if you do buy a new player, you stuck with him, and the player just came back from injury. And what's worse is they rotate. It's 2-3 weeks this one. As soon as it's fit, the next guy 2-3 weeks. And then you find the whole season.
But Don, also, like, I feel like that's an excuse, because this is what Liverpool do. Liverpool, they don't buy a lot of players. Like, they don't. Let's be real. Like last summer, not this summer, last summer, they only bought Konate. The year before that, I think they bought Jota and Thiago. That's it.
Like, they bought in winter signings because of the...
I mean, but technically, they just don't sign a lot of players.
The quad is still on.
Okay, so before just quick, here's my thing. My thing is that, look, I still rate Klopp as a manager. I still think he's a damn good manager. And when Jota comes back, hey, they could win games. So just to be very clear here, I'm not saying that Liverpool are screwed, they're going to mess up. All I'm saying that this was my logic when I said Tottenham will come second, and people came at me. Now, Liverpool could still end up doing well, but my logic was Liverpool, if they don't really revamp the midfield and they don't properly replace Mane, I think you're going to see a massive fall off with an overreliance on Salah and Nunez having to readjust, which leaves space for a Tottenham or a Chelsea to say what's up to City. Ricardo, talk to me, man.
I think there's too much emphasis being put on Mane. I think it has to do more so with the midfield. The midfield is not good enough to be a top club, in my opinion. It never has been. Now, with the whole Mane, I do agree with Don Smoke saying that they're essentially a package deal, Mane and Salah. Like, they both benefit off of each other. We can't act like Mane was the one holding this team together because let's say Mane stayed and Salah left. Well, now where's your volume goal scorer? Because we know Mane is not a volume goal scorer. So either way, whoever left, this team was essentially going to be fucked from the very beginning. It's just that Mane decided to leave. I've heard, I think Klopp said that Mane has actually wanted to leave since last year, and he just honored that last year or whatever, and he stayed. So it wasn't even that the club chose who to keep. Mane actually wanted to leave and try something new. He said it himself when he was at Bayern. He's won it all at Liverpool. I want to try something new. And he banked it on himself, got the money he deserved. Now, as for Liverpool, like, even Mane leaving, whoever you were going to sign was never going to fill the void, especially not Darwin Nunez, because they're two completely different players. And I think Liverpool were even fortunate enough that Mane last season had the ability to play as a center forward, because Luis Diaz was actually the proper replacement for Mane. I don't think the true intention was for Mane to play as a center forward. He did have the ability, but I mean, he's a quality player, and that's why he's succeeding at Bayern Munich. But then again, Bundesliga is Bundesliga. So he's obviously going to get better numbers there. But I personally think that they're going through a transition. They're entering a transition period, because you got Darwin, you got Luis Diaz, you gave Salah the contract. Now, Salah really isn't going to be part of the long-term future, but it's more so to keep them competitive while they're rebuilding, because what you don't want to do is be at the top, not necessarily like second or at least competing for the title, and then just plummet your whole team, and then you're not competing because you don't ever know how these new talents are going to work out. So keeping Salah, in my opinion, was actually probably the smarter move, because at least he can guarantee you a volume of goals.
Yeah. No.
But obviously they're looking, Van Dijk. To me, Van Dijk is still good, but he hasn't been the same since that knee injury.
Yeah.
But you look at the future of the club. Obviously Trent is going to be there. They signed that Portuguese kid Fabio Carvalho, who's actually pretty good. So I think they're actually going through a transition period. They're entering that stage, and they're just trying to keep Salah, maybe for commercial reason, because Salah, I believe he's the biggest Muslim athlete in the world. So you can't act like that's not a big issue, or it's not a big deal. Like I said, he's one of the top players. I personally think Salah is the best player in the league, just because honestly, once I saw City win the Premier League without De Bruyne that 1 year, I'm like, De Bruyne is not the best player in the Premier League. It's more down to Pep's system. And then when I saw that year where, what's his name, Van Dijk pretty much was gone, like Salah by himself kept Liverpool in the top four.
He did.
To me, that's when I was like, okay, Salah's clearly the best player in this league. But that's Salah, for Liverpool to even contend. I've always said this: they have to have an historic all-time campaign just to even contend with City. That's
99 points. 99
yeah,
points.
that's the opposition they're dealing with here, and it's unfortunate. But with Salah, even to get close, he's gonna have to maybe break his Premier League record, maybe get like 25 and maybe like 15 assists, because he's gonna have to do a carry job now that his partner in crime is not there anymore. And I could expect Salah to have that level of season, but I don't think that's gonna translate to Liverpool being successful in the Premier League. Like, he will stat pad, because he kind of tends to do that sometimes. But you can't expect much out of Nunez. Like, Diaz scored his first goal in like that might be his first goal period. Like, I don't remember. It was a great goal, but I think there's actually questions about Liverpool's defense because they've had this notion that they're the best defensive team in the Premier League, but some of the goals they concede, especially in transition, it's kind of like, what is this? Like I said, that like isn't the same player anymore.
Alisson's the reason why they don't concede because the chances are always there, but Alisson saves.
Alisson's by far the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, top two in the world. But
quick thing because I want to check Wikipedia because we have to stop this whole Liverpool Man City. It is not a rivalry.
It's not.
They only sell that to make the Premier League. It isn't like because I just looked at Wenger. So Wenger won the league with Arsenal. So he won the league 97, 98, 01, 02, then Invincibles 03, 04. So my thing is that I don't see Klopp winning the league this season or next season or the season. I think that I don't see Klopp winning the Premier League in the next 2 or 3 seasons. So Wenger and Fergie, as United, that period, that was a rivalry. Because Arsenal, in 6-7 years, got 3, United, the other thing. So is this now the 5th year with Klopp and Pep or the 6th?
6th.
I think 6th year, bro.
6. Because the first year of Pep, Conte won. Well, let's be honest, man.
Yeah. Klopp was here before Pep, right?
Klopp came
insane.
When are we gonna have the conversation that the Premier League is a farmers' league?
You saw what I wrote in the chat, right?
We're gonna have this
guys, remember what I wrote in the chat, right? I don't want to say it out loud, but you guys can remember what I said in the chat. It's true, guys. Klopp is Pep's side piece. That's what it is. That's what it is.
And also, Rakuri, do you know what really angers me? Do you know what they try and do? They try and sell the top 4 thing. Top 4 is a loser's competition. You don't get it. So do you know what they do? Because it is a farmers league, they try and say, who's going to make top 4? And they try and make top 4 things. So you have top 4 shows. Top 4 show goes down top 4. So wait, guys, how is top 4 a freaking thing, bro? No, it's about winning the freaking trophy.
Every league has a top 4 race and has a relegation battle. Why would we act like this is unique to the Premier League? It makes no sense.
Also,
no, but we're going to say it's the arrogance. So because they believe that because the Premier League has one of the most popular clubs and so forth, the top 4 race is now a real big thing. No, top 4 is just top 4, like relegation. It's about winning the league. If you get top 4, yes, you qualified for the Champions League. That's not an achievement. An achievement is you survived relegation of being a small club, and you won the freaking league.
You know what I feel too. It's that this is why I would always give Klopp the benefit of the doubt, is because the team that's actually competing with Man City, if you can even say compete, it's the team that is competing with a state. I would actually expect Chelsea to actually be competing with a state when they were ruled by an oligarch, but they couldn't do it. So it's like, come on, man! Like, this is not even a league.
But also, Ricardo, you know what really annoyed me last season, right? I don't care about the awards because the awards are fugazi. The awards don't mean much because it's just a popularity contest. Do you guys know who won the Manager of the Year for the Premier League last season? Do you guys remember that? Jurgen Klopp. What did he do to deserve that?
Yeah, but no. So there was a stat. There was the stat that showed that only when Man City has won the league has another manager won the league of the Manager of the Year in the history of the Premier League. It happened twice when Mancini won it and when Pep won it.
He went back to back. He went to back to back.
Okay. So now this is my question. Even if it's still irrelevant, but let me still ask it. When it's that award, is that solely for the Premier League, or does that include Karabuki and thingy?
Premier League.
Then that makes no sense of Klopp winning. That's over Pep.
If it has to do with all of English football, then it makes sense.
No, it's Premier League Manager of the Year. Right.
It's Premier League.
The thing I was going to say is this, right?
Sorry, pause. That makes no logical sense. If it's the Premier League Manager of the Year and you didn't win and a team won, now unless you're a manager who did something amazing with a small team, like let's say Moyes or so forth.
Vieira, yeah.
Or Vieira.
I understand, yeah. No, this goes, even Bernardo recently posted saying that it doesn't make sense that we won the league, but we have the least players in the team of the season, whereby Liverpool had the most. For what we don't really know. And the other thing is, the thing that bites Klopp in the ass is the fact that he says we have the best fullbacks, the best defense, the best goalkeeper, the best midfielders, the best striker, the best wingers, and the best manager. So basically, you're saying you have the best team,
Yeah, but
yet you
Dan,
don't win.
you know what annoys me is like I have never seen a team or club that gets celebrated so much for finishing second. They
Bro.
finished second for them for like the 2 times they finished second. You would think they were the best team in the world.
It's
And I'm
clearly,
like, what?
it's clear that the Premier League, the English media, have a problem with state-owned
Yes.
clubs because
Yeah,
right now,
yeah.
out of all the teams competing, maybe not Arsenal, I mean Arsenal's new, but for the last 5 years, the only team that's been relevant in the Premier League that isn't a state-owned club is Liverpool. So they're gonna
Yes.
pick them up even more. That's why they have
Yeah.
biases with Manchester United and when they're relevant. So that's the only thing I can think of.
But for me, it's like you cannot have your cake and eat it. You cannot praise Pep Guardiola and his genius, but not reward him for his genius. Like, are you telling me Pep Guardiola won 4 out of the 5 Premier League titles, and I think he has won like how many Premier
but
League
yes, you
years?
know what it is?
Come on.
It's called
Because-
it's called voter fatigue. Like it's not an objective awarded trophy or award.
No, but you know what it is? Because see, I don't know whether Smoke you said this when I had to change batteries. Is Pep? I think it was the 98-point season when Pep said that. I know, we won and so forth, and you want Liverpool to win. Basically, alluding to the fact of like the media favors Liverpool and the media wants Liverpool to win. I think that Pep knows, and I think it's City are like the new kids on the block. And City, because they're linked in with the oil money and so forth, City don't feel as English as, say, Liverpool. Like the darlings of English media are Man United and Liverpool. So these are teams that the English media favor more, which is United and Liverpool. Cities, because they're new and they don't have the kind of history and they don't feel as English as United or Liverpool, the media look at the whole quarter. So it's mixed for the guys.
I feel as if they hate how good we are. That you have one of the best Liverpool teams and they still can't beat us, right? So they hate us, literally. Even last season, they wanted Liverpool to win. You could see all the English narratives like, oh, look at the comeback. But the fact that we beat them and the way we beat them.
Yeah. Oh, no, and also, do you know what it is? I think, so as I said, because United and Liverpool, they're favored by the media. And it's not only City winning, the way in which they've won and how dominant they've been. If you ask the reporters, they don't like it because it makes the Premier League look bad. Because it's one thing that we'd rather it was United or Liverpool because that makes it better for the English media. And also, you're winning it so convincingly and in such a dominant fashion, it makes the Premier League look like a fruit sellers league. It's not good for reporting.
It's funny, like when you praise Klopp for what he's done in the EPL, Pep has outdone him. Whatever record you can bring, Pep has records better than him. But then you'll try to spin, and I think it's just trying to sell the league as if it's not a farmers league. Like, oh, you know what? It's not just City. There's also these guys who are there. They're always there.
No, but see, the numbers speak for itself because, as Ricardo said, like this is it's Pep has made it a farmers league. He's made it a farmers league. Like it is what it is because it's like it's 4 out of 5, 100 points, 98 points, goals record, consecutive wins record. That's why I said that. Look, I respect Fergie, and I'll always give. All Fergie has over Pep is longevity. Pep is not going to do 3 in a row. Yeah. So all that Fergie will have is longevity, and you were able to destroy and build up new teams. But Fergie never made a team in a single season as good as Pep. What Pep has been able to do in individual seasons is unlike anything I've seen Premier League-wise, based on just quality of performance, which is points accumulation, goals scored, consecutive wins.
Yeah, and actually, I think it's all the fact that they remember before he came, they're like, oh, you can't do it in England. You can't do it. And the fact that he came and he's like, okay, you wait, I'll show you guys.
And he completely destroyed it.
You know what's crazy, HH though? You know, when you watch them play, you know, one time I watched them play, and I think they had a midfield pivot of Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan. Like they did that in the Premier League, and I'm like, how? Like people out here telling the Premier League is physical, and you look at Man City, and you look at Gundogan, and you look at Bernardo Silva, and they look all small, and like.
No, but yes, do you know what it shows? This is what I've always said. That's why I say, don't give me that pace and power crap. That's why I've always said that. whenever this is what I say. This is something to my black brothers out there. If you're black, especially for my young black brothers there, and a coach compliments you on your pace and power in football, that's not a compliment. That's an insult. Because skill will always rise to the top. If you're smart, intelligent, and you play the game the right technical way, you'll always do. So this crap about how the Premier League is tougher. No. What Pep has shown is you play good football the right way, the right technical way, you will get 100 points, you will get 98 points, you will win 30 plus games, and you will baptize this league.
Because one thing my dad always told me was, you can never be faster than the ball. Like, I don't care how physical you are. If you can't, have you ever, like, I don't know if all of you guys have played football, but have you ever been in a situation where you're playing against a possession-based team that are very good and you're just chasing the ball? Do you know how insanely exhausting that is, HH?
I've had that. No, because I remember, like, there was one team, and I'm still friends with him. Like, there was this guy, because I was a midfielder, and this guy was a midfielder as well. And I was like, I can't get this ball off this dude.
Yeah.
Like, this dude was like, because he saw 3 steps ahead. Every time he had the ball, he knew how to make a pass, and he just knew how to drift past. So it was like, bro. And all I was doing was just chase. And if you make a team chase and so forth, they tire out physically and mentally. Why was that Spain tiki-taka so effective? It wasn't. It was a psychological breakdown, because you're like, we've been chasing for 70 minutes. Oh, we have the ball. Hoof it. Because you've not had the ball for such a long time, you're like, oh, we have the ball. Before you know it, you've lost it. It's a psychological breakdown.
Look, I swear, that's exactly how Manchester City's every game it is. They literally keep the ball forever.
That's what Chelsea do.
By the time the other team has the ball, the moment the other team has the ball, you know what Pep Guardiola, he's a bastard. You know what he tells them? Suffocate the player. So a lot of the players in the lower teams, they don't have a lot of good technical players. So when you're pressed by 3 players, what are you gonna do?